We're away. Russell Ingall, nice start. The Rat, an even better start though. A drag race down into turn one for the first time. The Castrol Commodore up against the Shell Helix Ford. They thunder down the Gold Coast Highway for the first time. Russell muscles out the Rat and takes the lead.
Yeah, that's a significant move, that is, no doubt about it.
Keep your eyes further back in the pack. It looks like they've had a relatively clean start. Russell Ingall in front of the Rat, the big winner at Sandown Park last weekend. As they file out of the chicane, thundering down toward Queensland Turn, toward the A&A Hotel, fast part of the circuit. You can see the concrete lined streets lined with spectators. They love the roar of these V8 supercars. Oh, look at this run under brakes. So everyone jostling for position on this hectic opening lap.
Larkham's made up a position. On lap one, he's managed to get around Craig Lowndes and slot himself in the Mitre 10 Ford up into fourth position, but now under siege from the defending champion as they thunder down the Esplanade. Look at the Rat. How pumped up is he at the moment? Under brakes and dives down the inside of Russell Ingall. Paul Radicic takes the lead. And Mark Skate sniffing there as well, just hoping for a mistake from Russell.
Well, Garth Tander, I was expecting Russell to make that car wider than it is, but that was pretty good by the Rat, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I thought Russell would be covering his line a bit tighter than that on the first lap with everyone so close. But, yeah, Paul snuck through quite nicely and quite cleanly. Very un-Russell, that one.
Yeah, surprising, wasn't it, really?
Radicic's really on the charge. He's on a high. Debuting the brand new Shell 18 Falcon at Sandown Park last weekend. It was a brilliant debut for the team. Climb back to form for the Ford Motor Company. They've had a wretched couple of seasons. 19-round winning streak.
There we go.
Richards has gone into the back of Ellery. Larkham's gone off as well. Greg Murphy tangled in that one. This is a car park here. That's on the exit of FedEx Turn, or Skilled Turn, I should say. Boy, oh boy. And looks like Neil Crompton's gone in there too. Well, this is what we were tipping before the start of this race. We didn't want to see it happen, but it is a place where that can happen. Look at this freight train banked up here. Murphy has gone sort of skewed to the right into the wall. Crompton's trying to get out of there.
Yeah, Johnson's getting out of it.
Stephen Richards has got a lot of damage on that second Kmart Commodore. Steve Ellery is out of his car.
Perkins going through.
Well, it happens so often here, doesn't it? Look at this. So all these teams, they're going to turn up at Mount Panorama in a month's time, and look at the damage.
Well, I tell you what, they're going to get the old flags out. Oh, it's Larkham got involved in that as well, didn't they?
Well, the race continuing. Not sure. We're waiting to...
That's the view from Greg Murphy's car there, Mark.
Hear the command from race control, but that track looks virtually blocked. It was very difficult for the field to pick their way past. We hear safety car will be coming out on the track any moment now.
Greg Murphy does not look happy there to the right-hand side of your screen, does he? Talking with the marshals. There hasn't been too many words exchanged between these guys either.
Well, it's not the sort of time when you want to have a chat, really.
No, exactly.
Oh, you see, you can't really see what it looked like. Mark Larkham did something at the beginning by the look, because by virtue of the fact he was the first car, wasn't he?
It was just a concertina.
Yeah,
after that,
concertina thing. It looked like then maybe Murph got on the brakes.
What do you think happened there?
Yeah, it looked like Larko may have had half a moment. And then with the walls here, you've really got nowhere to go. And unfortunately, it looked like Murph was the first one there, and then it's just stacks on the mill after that. And I mean, with the concrete walls around here, you just can't avoid anything. You really just have to plough into whoever's there. It's unfortunate. The poor old Kmart guys, they got both cars there, so they'll be working pretty hard tonight.
Well, motorsport's full of highs and lows. Look at that man, Stephen Ellery, stood on the podium for the first time in the Shell Championship Series only 6 days ago. Now he finds himself the meat Kmart crash. 2 Kmart Commodores going out. Greg Murphy and Stephen Richards shaking their heads in despair. And here comes the field, threading through behind the pace car. They'll be under full yellow flag conditions here. Queue will form behind the safety car until they can clear this wreckage and get back to racing. But they've got a lot of work to do.
Certainly had. That corner as the site, you may recall, many years ago, that massive shunt Brad Jones had in the Audi in the Super Touring races.
Russell Ingall out of his car as well. So
obviously pulled up on the pit lane, possibly. We'll try and get
that's from the Shell car, isn't it? Because look, that's the in-car camera that's on the
This is a replay of the start. We're taking a look out here. They both launch off the line side by side.
Yeah, it was pretty even here. Garth Tander.
Yeah, you got two of the gun starters starting on the front row. There's a fair gap back to the next bunch behind these two. They got an awesome start. And really, Rusty just made sure that he was parked his car on the inside, and there was nothing that Paul could do about it. So nice and clean, and they got pretty close to each other. I think the mind games were definitely in go there.
There was contact there, I think.
A little bit of push and shove, but only took half a lap later, and the Rat snuck down the inside of the Castrol Commodore.
Interesting that's...
Roar again on the streets of Surfers Paradise. Green flag being waved. We are underway again.
Tell you what, that Ford's got some horsepower, hasn't it?
Thundering down toward Honda chicane once again. Green flag waving in the distance. So now can Paul Radicic defend hard. The FAI V8 Supercar Challenge. The Shell Ford flying. Russell Ingall, the pole position man, in behind him. Then it's Mark Scaife. Craig Lowndes. Sweep under our camera. Down toward A&A Hotel. Queensland turn 3. A lot of speed through here.
Top 10 at the moment is completed by a couple of guys who we haven't seen up that high this year. Brad Jones in 8th position in the Aussie Mail Ford. Rodney Forbes in the Wins Commodore in 9th. The top 10 completed by the local ace in the K&J Ford just there. That is Paul Wheel.
Are there many overtaking opportunities around here, Garth Tander?
Well, the key to getting past someone is actually getting off the turn previous quicker. You really need to get on the gas as early as possible and position yourself up the inside, so when to get to the braking area, there's nothing the guy that you're trying to pass can do about it. Really, it's all done under brakes here. It's quite hard on the brakes around here, and you know, with those walls there, you've got to make sure you give each other plenty of room.
Scaife looks like when it gets to the twiddly bits, Scaife looks to be giving Ingall a bit of a hard time.
Down through Conrad Jupiter's turn, Mark Scaife, headlights on, maximum intimidation for the Castrol Commodore driver. Craig Lowndes, his teammate, sitting in behind. 4 laps remaining as they come across the start-finish line this time around. The race has been shortened.
That Shell Helix Ford is like a jet at the moment, isn't it? Straight out of the box. That car was quick last weekend at Sandown. Helped Paul Radicic break through for his first championship round win. He's got a renewed level of enthusiasm, Mark. Keep in mind that the Rat cleaned up in all 3 races here on the Gold Coast last year. And look at the lead he's got on the Enforcer at the moment.
The Shell team, the Ford team that the Holden guys are fearing most at Mount Panorama, Garth. I mean, looking at the speed those cars had last year, they're phenomenally quick in a straight line, aren't they?
Well, really, yeah. Everyone's sort of got their eye on the Shell team. Obviously, Paul's car last year was just awesome down Conrod. And they haven't lost any horsepower in the last 12 months, that's for sure. So everyone's got their eye on them, and pretty much I think Larko will be a bit of a dark horse up there too. He's got plenty of squirt under the bonnet. So Bathurst is all about horsepower, and those Fords have got plenty of that, that's for sure.
Enforcer under siege from Mark Scaife. A nice big backfire there from Paul Radicic as he sweeps onto the Esplanade out of Telstra turn. Got a couple of car links over the Enforcer. There's Mark Scaife with the lights ablaze in 3rd position. His teammate Craig Lowndes 4th. Jason Bargwanna a couple of car links further back. And Tony Longhurst trying to find a way around the Mitre 10 Ford of Mark Larkham there.
Larkham and Tony Longhurst running nose to tail. There's Brad Jones, Paul Wheel, Rodney Forbes in there too, Craig Baird, John Bowe, John Faulkner, Dougal McDougall. Big field here as they come charging through the S's. Foster's chicane down toward Conrad Jupiter's turn once again. Paul Radicic showing a clean pair of heels, 7/10 of a second up the road now, just trying to pump out a bit of a break over his Commodore pursuers. 3 of them in a line, but they can't touch this AU XR8 Falcon at the moment.
Just looks so clean on the road, Garth, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's riding the bumps really well. It's riding the curbs. I mean, obviously the curbs are a big key around here. And not only does it go in a straight line, but they've worked out how to make it go around corners as well. And I mean, the Shell team and Paul in particular have been coming for the last couple of rounds of the championship, and obviously Sandown and now here at IndyCar, they're right on top of things.
Ford have had a really solid run here in recent years. Larkham cleaned up in 98, Radicic last year. In fact, the last Holden victory here was by Russell Ingall back in 1997.
Yeah, I think they'll come up here and go testing when around the streets when we're not around.
Yeah, by comparison to Radicic's car, Ingall's thing looks quite soft in it over the chicanes. It's wallows a bit.
Gee, it's a fast circuit, Garth Tander. When you stand beside the concrete walls here and watch these things come through, they're frightening how fast they're going.
Well, that's it. And I mean, obviously, the fast way to go is to be as close to the walls as possible. And the street circuits sort of do that. They make the cars look a lot faster than we're actually going, and they're an awesome spectacle, and definitely the most fun to drive on.
Does it take long to convince yourself that, yeah, you can go a little bit closer to the wall?
Well, yeah, I probably did a bit too much convincing myself. And, yeah, ended up a bit too close. But Gary will be telling me all about that for the next couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Oh, your teammate, Jason Barguan, has just been shown the bad sportsmanship flag.
Oh, really?
Oh, come on, he's a good guy. He doesn't need the bad sportsmanship flag.
For hopping the curbs, apparently.
And that is something they've policed quite closely here this week, haven't they?
Yeah, well, we had the first 2 practices on Thursday, and apparently there was 225 breaches in one session of curb abuse.
The people at home might like to know why. Why is that against the rules? You seem to be able to go quicker. As we see them come through the Foster's chicane here now, you can see them launching over the curbs, and that most of the drivers say is the quick way around.
Well, it is the quick way around, and it's not so much using the curbs. If you look at some of the chicanes, there's some witches' hats standing, and they're actually bolted down to the ground, and it's when you actually hit the witch's hat that you get in a bit of strife. So actually going over the curbs isn't too much of a problem, but I think some of the guys were taking that a bit too liberally and actually just straight lining the chicanes. They've actually flattened the curbs out a bit this year, and it's made it a lot easier to drive over them.
That's the silly thing, isn't it, really? They should have made them higher, then people would steer clear of them.
Well, that's right. I mean, if it was a concrete wall, you wouldn't drive it.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 laps remaining for our race leader, Paul Radicic. Doing it easy out front at the moment. It's almost a second lead now. Craig Lowndes really putting the pressure. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at this.
Mark Scaife's car.
Dear me.
So he's had a moment there. Craig Lowndes trying to pounce as they come sweeping round up toward Queensland turn 3.
Yes.
Up the inside. Hard under brakes. Craig Lowndes sneaks inside Scaife. Is Scaife going to come back on the inside? Yes. They're going to go side by side up toward turn 4. Scaife takes it back. It's a great battle amongst the Holden Racing team teammates, but look at the gap. Paul Radicic and Russell Engel now have opened up over the Red Barons.
Lowndes is not giving up here either as they run down the Esplanade towards WorldCom S's. Scaife's got the line.
Well, we hear Radicic has also been given a warning for hopping the curbs too, so the pace is coming up. The driver's really starting to attack. Look at this fight between the teammates.
This will be good. Bugs will be there in a minute, and we'll try and make it 3-way.
Side by side, threading their way through the concrete streets. Who's going to get in?
Looks like Lowndes gave in on that occasion, Mark. Scaife retains his position in 3rd. Lowndes sideways on the exit of the Foster's S's.
Well, still no news on Craig Lowndes' future with Holden Racing Team. He's driving like a man possessed at the moment, giving it everything. In car 1, the reigning Shell Series champion. Let's have a look further back here. We might have a clue as to what happened to Mark Scaife, maybe. Honda replay. Yeah,
oh,
that's
yes,
what happened.
that's what happened.
Got right out of shape coming out of the chicane. He's very lucky to get away with that go.
Yeah, it looked like he just sort of fired it off the curb a bit too hard, and it's just gone backwards into the wall, and he's fairly lucky not to get collected by his teammate there.
1 lap remaining in this first in a series of races on the Gold Coast. The FAI Insurance V8 Supercar Challenge. You're watching the battle for 3rd between the Red Barons, the teammates, and this is not far from where Mark Scaife came unstuck a lap ago. The Rat up in front. Russell's managed
Russell's
to
made some ground.
Yeah, they've really opened it up. 3.6 seconds the gap now between Russell Engel and Mark Scaife. So the Holden Racing Team locked in a battle amongst themselves. Paul Radicic and Russell Engel battling for the lead, hard under brakes as they swing through turn 3 up toward Telstra turn 4. Russell Engel, after he let Radicic through on that opening lap, powerless to do anything about it at the moment. You're on board with the Rat, 37-year-old Queensland-based New Zealander. He's raced cars all around the world. Enormously experienced driver, both single-seaters and touring cars. Doing a tremendous job for Dick Johnson Racing here toward the end of the 2000 season. Mark Scaife and Craig Lowndes locked in a battle for 3rd.
I wonder if Radicic's having any kind of brake problem or anything, or do you think he's just backing
I'd
off?
say he's just looking after the tyres. Obviously, we've got 2 more races after this. We've done into 2 sets of tyres, and I mean, when you're running out in the clean air out in front, you get plenty of nice cool air into the brake duct. So I'd say you just be winning at the slowest possible margin, and just trying to tempt Russell into having a bit of a go. I'd say doesn't take much.
No, it doesn't take much.
Let Russell have a go.
The Enforcer on maximum attack with a couple of corners to go. Will opportunities run out for Russell Engel back in 3rd position? Scaife holding off teammate Craig Lowndes. But this is what's happening up in front. Paul Radicic on course to do what he did last year, at least commence or repeat of what he did last year. The winning feeling remains alive for the Shell Helix race team. Paul Radicic will take out race 1 in the FAI Insurance Supercar Showdown.
His team owner, Dick Johnson, applauding his driver home. All the teams congratulating their drivers. And so they might, if he managed to thread the needle 10 laps around here without doing too much damage to the cars. That's an achievement in itself.